Hi, this is Ken and Michelle Bass.
And you're listening to the Resilient Parenting Podcast.
Oh, look, it's podcast time already. What?
Every day is podcast time.
I'm just
what
going
are
to
you
make a
talking
sandwich and everything.
It is so nice outside. I'm excited about the spring and then the summer. I'm really excited about gardening, but anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm excited about the nice weather, too. Am I involved in the excitement on the garden?
You know you are. Holes need to be dug.
Grunt work.
I just really would like if this time you could just try to avoid the flowers and the vegetables. Just stick to the weeds.
You get what you ask for. Okay.
I guess free. You get what what you pay for. So speaking of free, this podcast is free.
Yes, it is. And it's available in a wide variety of places, too.
It is. We're all over the place. And something that we were just talking about before was we'd really like some help from our listeners to put some stars on there.
Reviews,
yes. I think it helps build
the audience, possibly, or
maybe the audience,
the listenership,
or the reach. I'm not quite sure, but
all the pretty much all the streaming devices or avenues you can go on, you can find us, right?
Yeah. Let me see: Amazon Music, Apple Music, Spotify, Audible. There's more.
Yeah.
It's been kind of fun, to be honest with you. And on Apple Music, I noticed they actually will give you an alert when a new episode is on. So you definitely want to follow us so that you are up to date on the latest and greatest episode, which is actually coming up in just a minute. We had the opportunity to go meet someone amazing and learn some tips
on
and
parenting.
tricks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would hope so.
Because it is the Resilient Parenting Podcast. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, and one little note to make after you listen to the podcast.
Yes. So when we were doing the interview, we were so involved in the conversation that we forgot to plug the links to resources that are going to be provided. And there's a lot of really great resources. So the links will be in the show notes, and also we'll share it on the Facebook page, which is the Resilient Parenting Podcast Facebook page. And so that's another great resource to check out, because we will let you know also when the new episode comes out, and we'll be sharing resources that are shared on the show, but also we have different folks who let us know about different resources that our listeners can access. So I'm very excited. We're building a resilient parenting community.
Oh, okay. I see what you did there. Well, welcome once again with Ken and Michelle. And this time we're talking with Kim Hemmert of the Idaho Children's Trust Fund. Now, we have talked with the Idaho Children's Trust Fund before with Roger Sherman, but Kim, you have a different aspect to share with us about the Trust Fund itself.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
What do you do? What do you do?
That is a loaded question. I bet she has lots of hats she wears.
Well, some of my roles with the Idaho Children's Trust Fund is the grant manager. So I manage all of our annual and multi-year grantees. I am also the lead for our Hope Conquers the ACEs community of practice statewide, and I help to organize and coordinate Child Abuse Prevention Month activities for April.
Wow.
Nice.
You were pretty busy this past month then.
This has been a busy month.
Yeah.
Are you ready for a nap?
I am ready for a nap.
Wait till we
And a
get finished
vacation.
talking with you, though, okay? Nothing worse than in the middle of a podcast, all of a sudden,
Oh, that's usually me.
or it could
With
be
you.
a listener, I don't know.
Oh, dear, I hope not.
We've talked about Idaho Child Abuse Prevention Month, but besides what you were doing with that, what else have you been involved with?
Well, my background is in human development and family studies with an emphasis in early childhood education and family life education. And I am here to talk about play and how to foster play and the importance of play between kids and parents and caretakers.
Okay.
I love that so much. I don't know if you know. Are you familiar with TBRI?
Yes.
Trust-based relation intervention. Okay, so I'm a practitioner, and playful engagement and play with your kids is like the hallmark. Is that a word?
Hallmark.
No, it's a hallmark.
Hallmark?
I'm just kidding. It's
Try not to harm.
Hallmark.
yeah. So I'm really excited about this topic.
Play is a really great way to touch on all the protective factors that build resilience and build brain development and brain architecture. And also it frames well within the HOPE framework, which is healthy outcomes from positive experiences. So as we talk about play, I'll be able to share how it relates to the building blocks of HOPE.
Nice. So I know you're going to be talking about different age groups as well. When I think about play, one of the questions that comes to mind is, what if you're a parent and you don't know how to play, or you say, I forgot how to do it. So where do they start?
That's a great question. And I think the best place to start is understanding child development and what is appropriate for each stage of development for kids. So if we start with infants, infants explore everything with their mouth. It is a sensory experience, and anything that an infant has, they want to figure out everything about it through their mouth. And so that's why we see everything goes into an infant's mouth, whether it's blocks, toys, spoons, keys, garbage off the floor, whatever it is, they want to be able to explore it with their mouth. And that is very typical development for an infant. That's how they explore, is putting things in their mouth. So as a parent, you can facilitate opportunities for play by giving them things that they can explore by putting it in their mouth. So if it's measuring spoons, if it's Lego men, maybe not Lego men, take that out. You don't want them to choke.
No, I want to keep that in, so then they know not to have Lego men because that's a choking hazard. That was really funny.
They have really big Lego men.
Yes, big Lego
the big
blocks would be
12-inch tall ones,
appropriate.
Yeah,
Yes.
those are okay. Like big tykes or something. Isn't that
Yeah.
what it's called? Okay.
Yeah.
Just a little plug for you.
Tummy time is another really great opportunity to be able to engage with an infant, a parent and caretaker on the floor. It helps the infant develop that muscle strength and being able to lift their head, but also it provides opportunities for parents to engage at their level. So they're getting on the floor and playing with them. They're playing peekaboo. They're mimicking their sounds. It's part of a call and response where a baby coos and the mom coos back, and then the baby responds and coos again, and the caretaker responds and coos back. So it's a very reciprocal interactive play.
You threw
So
me when you said tummy time. I thought they were doing the on their tummy, you know?
That could be too.
That's only for you.
Oh,
Okay, so what you're saying is get off your phone and make eye contact and get to their level. So this is not something you would do on the couch when they're on the floor. Am I understanding correctly?
Absolutely. For tummy time, you want them to be on the floor, and you can be on the floor with them, so that you are making eye contact. Infants have very limited eye visual range at that point, so they want to see things. They want to see you up close.
Yes, and don't worry about if you can't get up. You can just do like a little roll thing. Maybe just roll to the couch, and then you can help lift yourself up. I'm not talking from personal experience or anything.
It's not a bad thing to be able to play with your kiddo on your lap on the couch, but you're right. Put your phone away and make that eye contact with them.
okay.
Most definitely.
Let's move up the rung a little bit to another age level. now.
Okay, so the next age level is we have toddlers. They are extremely exploratory, and a great play for them is building hand-eye coordination, and you find that in repetition play. So they want to build the blocks and knock them over, and build the blocks and knock them over, and build the blocks and knock them over. We're learning cause and effect, and that things are consistent. If I build these blocks, I can knock them over, and they're going to knock over every single time, and then I'm going to do it again. I had the opportunity to teach preschool, and one of the things that I had in my classroom is I had this really great idea of collecting cereal boxes and being able to take them to make big dominoes, because little tiny dominoes are a little bit too small for toddlers. So I was like, I'm going to make big dominoes out of cereal boxes that my kids can build cereal box dominoes out of.
That's very cool.
DEI that you can do at home.
Yes. And I will tell you that I learned more from that experience than my narrow-minded thinking of, we're just going to play dominoes with these. My kids were extremely creative and extremely imaginative of all the other things that they could do with these cereal boxes beyond dominoes.
Oh my goodness, please share. What did they do?
They would use them as bowling pins. So they stacked them up as bowling and then would throw balls at them to knock them over. They would stand on them and use them as ice skates and skate around the room. They would use them to build forts, like big, huge fort structures, and how tall they can actually stack this to then be able to knock it over in a safe environment.
Yes. Well, and they're not going to hurt anybody because they're just cereal boxes.
Yeah. So in my limited understanding,
empty cereal boxes.
Empty
right?
cereal boxes,
especially at our house.
In my limited understanding of, we're just going to play dominoes with these, my kids had a bigger imagination and creativity to think farther outside the box than what I had in mind.
I would just say because you created the environment to let them explore. So that's amazing.
Well, it kind of goes back to when you said the box, it kind of goes back to the whole thing about how kids, like if you get toys and you have a big box, they come in, they like to use the big box for different things, whether it be making it into a car or a plane or a fort or whatever,
Which is really great to go into the next age group.
Nice segue.
Nice segue, yeah. The preschool age 3 to 5, you see a lot more imagination play, and you move from parallel play to cooperative play. So kids can parallel play where we have all of the play food, but one of them is using all the food as a restaurant and we're playing restaurant, and the other kid has food, but we're using the banana as a phone. So we're playing next to each other, but we're not really interacting. We can have the same toys, but we're playing with them differently. So that's kind of parallel play. And we move into cooperative play where we have turn taking, where we have opportunities to use that big, huge refrigerator box now this is the hub, this is my restaurant or this is my grocery store that now I'm playing at. I can build a fort out of this. I can make a house out of this. I can play house with this big box.
Oh, I want a big refrigerator box again. I want to make a fort.
Fort building is crucial to imagination and creative play, and it is part of development even into the next stage of development where we have school age kids. And imagination play gets bigger. And so we have more dress up and more pretend play of being someone else. So we're having a concept that not only am I this person, but I can pretend and be something else or go in that direction.
It's just prepping them for theater later in
life. Yes, absolutely.
Disclosure, we're all theater people, by the way.
We found our people.
Well, we never outgrow pretend play, really. And we should.
No,
we
never
shouldn't.
stop playing.
Yeah. A big part of play in both the preschool and the school age years is the sensory experience. So a great opportunity for parents, for caretakers, for preschool teachers is sensory bins, whether it's sand, water, you can make slime, shaving cream, bubbles. All of these provide sensory experiences for kids, and it's easy to do at home as well.
Yeah. Our child would make slime out of detergent, some detergent and some glue, and they had a whole science to it. But, I mean, it's not like where you have to go and you have to, purchase everything. There's things that you can do at home as well if you're on a budget. So I really like that because they made a big thing of slime, and then they added things, they added, little things that make the texture differently.
Oh,
So like
yeah.
what you're talking about with the sensory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really exciting.
It's really exciting to see how kids respond to that because it's their interest in exploring their environment and their ability to negotiate and navigate those different sensory experiences. I had one kid who was all in for sensory exploration and would throw themselves and pour themselves into the sensory table and just come out dripping wet.
Okay, so they were actually in the table.
They were actually in the water table,
Wow.
splashing and playing. And I
That's
had
awesome.
another kiddo who was like, I see what you're doing and I will not be participating and I'm going to stay as far away as possible. I would put shaving cream on the table and, they would just look at it and never have any interest or desire in touching it. Like, you've got to be crazy if you think I'm going to touch that.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
sensory, all the feelings that come out of that go last all the way through adulthood too. So this is something they're learning early on, what they do and do not like, or what does feel good to them, what doesn't.
Absolutely. That's definitely part of play, is learning all of those things about your own body and how you respond to those sensory inputs and how supported you are with your caregiver or your parent of, wow, I really don't like this. This is very distressing sensory experience. And having that responsive caregiver be able to provide that support of like, let's wash your hands off. Let's wipe your face off. Like, let's
Right.
complete the stress cycle so
Yeah,
that
exactly.
we can get back to baseline
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
regulation.
And find out what actually does soothe them or what they do, what they are drawn to. So I heard many times about how play is like the job of childhood, and that is how you learn all sorts of different things to help you in adult life. And so it's not necessarily like a privilege to be able to go play, but actually part of creating who they're going to be and their development and all of that. So what would you say to that?
Yes, I would say play is absolutely necessary, especially when kids get to elementary school where they are required to sit and listen and learn for so long that they need that outlet. They need that physical body outlet where they're running, jumping, skipping, hopping, dancing, all of those ways in which our bodies need and want to move.
Right.
And not to be used as a punishment that you didn't finish this, so you're going to lose your recess, which is a time for cooperation with other kids. It's that time for negotiation in play. It's where kids can share ideas. It's that creativity in all of the imagination play. And it's necessary to build those social skills with kids. It's necessary for problem solving, for sequencing of events. All of those things are what is built on brain development and brain structure that's necessary in play.
Right.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention was we also see with school age kids the development of structured and organized sports, where a lot of our play in infancy and toddler and preschool is very unstructured. We want to provide opportunities for creativity and kids to just explore their environment. And we see a shift from the unstructured nature into structured sports, structured activities, clubs, and how that can go both ways. It's good to be able to have structure, and it's also good that kids experience unstructured play because that's where some of those nuanced social skills are developed, where it's not always overseen by adults.
Right,
Yes,
right. Okay.
that was how I grew up. I was outside from the time, that I could get out until they told me that it was time to come in. I was constantly playing, and it was lovely to be able to just explore. And I had some of the best times doing that, riding my bike and being with friends. How about you, Ken?
Back in the good old days, I never came in.
That's because they didn't have a TV yet.
Didn't have I just stayed out there. Yeah, it is. I mean, the older you get, the more you reminisce about the fact that we did all this stuff as the kids, and kids today, they have so many other options, whether it be on their tablets, on the computer, or TV, whatever. And I'm not dissing those things, but they do have other opportunities to learn from those too, as well as a caretaker, a parent. you can encourage kids to go on and get outside, take some time out there, like, little time on the computer, but time outside too. If you can get them to do both, it'll greatly help them as far as growing up, and it'd be to their advantage.
Yeah, I think it's about intentionality. How much intentional time are we having with unstructured play? How much intentional effort is put into having that structure? And that parental engagement. There's sometimes there's only so much that I can play blocks and tip them over. And sometimes I need to be able to still be there to support my kids in their development and play. So the next age level for play is middle childhood, and I have that about 8 years old to 12 years old. There becomes a shift more for interest in peer-to-peer play. You see kids that want to spend more time with peers and can associate more with peers and start that separation from their parents, that their parent or caretaker isn't necessarily their primary person that they want to play with.
Yeah.
We see that, I think, because sometimes parents lose their ability to be creative and imaginative in play, and kids are still ridiculously robust in imagination and creative play, and the ability to fantasize about the most outlandish things, which is completely normal again.
Yeah. Okay.
We see in this stage, there's more development in construction play where, for example, my own kids built a movie theater scene out of different materials and different blocks because we were going to have a movie night, and they're like, okay, we're going to set up as a movie theater. So we have like the ticket counter, we have the snack counter, we have the entrance to the like theater itself. And like this was just all part of their imagination play. We could have easily just turned on a movie and had movie night, but they're like, no, we're going to turn this into a whole scene, and literally built a construction scene out of this into a movie theater.
And you allowed that and encouraged that, which, sometimes it might be like, okay, no, let's just watch the movie. Oh, that's going to be too messy. Oh, I don't want to get that out.
It's going to take too long.
It's going to take too long. Like, let's just, to be able to just pause and just try to remember what it was like to be a kid. And maybe you don't remember what it was like to be a kid, so you get to explore it all over again.
Yeah. How much did they charge you, by the way?
The admission actually was a song and a dance.
Oh,
very good.
That was the ticket price. You had to sing and dance.
Oh my goodness.
Which just
Future
takes
theater
play to the
people.
next level.
Yes, exactly. And what you brought up also reminds me of like just being silly with your kids, and just, and if it's not natural to you, because some of us are just naturally silly all the time.
Why did you look at me?
What?
You looked at me.
They don't know that. I totally looked at him. That you can practice and kind of try to remember what it was like. It may feel awkward at first, but practice, and it means a lot to your kids.
Another good point to remember is that it may not be something that you can draw on from your own experience. If your childhood may have lacked some of these developmental skills and milestones, especially in construction play, it's a great opportunity for parents and caretakers to be able to relive their own childhood. That I didn't grow up building lots of forts, but now I have the opportunity to build forts and build movie theaters. And we've set up golf courses in my house and like set up the stuffed animals as spectators as we're doing our golf tournament. So
they're supposed to be really quiet, so that works.
Exactly. They really are. After our golf tournament, my kids made a zip line so that then all of the stuffed animals could zip line downstairs, like leaving the event.
Okay, can I just say that your kids sound really cool? Like really cool. They must have really cool parents. I'm just saying.
I mean, I am a little bit biased, but my kids are really cool. I recognize my own bias.
That's okay. That's good. That's fine.
Another great way to play with kids is with board games. This teaches turn taking and negotiation skills, but also it's dealing with disappointment because somebody has to win and somebody has to lose, and sometimes that's really hard for kids to know.
I know. I sweetheart, I don't like to play. Oh, yeah.
Nobody likes to lose, but it also really helps develop
Aggression.
self-esteem.
Oh, wait.
Self-esteem and self-image that I'm still a good person, even if I don't win the game.
Yes, Ken, you're still a good person.
You're still a good
Can I
person.
win at least once in a while?
You know, I'm competitive. So, try harder.
We play a game in my house called Beat the Parents, and it's kids versus parents. And I will tell you, my kids still have not won.
Oh.
But it's teaching them perseverance because they asked to play that game. And I'm like, just so you know, you remember that you haven't won yet. They're like, but we need to keep playing because someday we're going to win. And I'm like, okay, we'll keep playing.
You're building resiliency in your
We're
children.
just building
Yes.
resiliency. Yes. And
The Resilient Parenting Podcast. We teach you how to
emotional competence by dealing with disappointment that you have continuously lost.
mic dropped.
Boom. Okay. We digress. You might think that playing with older kids or at that stage may be more difficult. And it just looks maybe a little bit different, and it's a little bit more sophisticated. This is the age of 13 to 18 is when kids really are trying to differentiate themselves. They're really trying to understand who they are and what their values and beliefs are. But also it's developing critical thinking skills. And this is where developed dress up, fantasy, and role play take place. We can see that with cosplay and all the Comic-Cons that are happening everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
This is how youth are engaging in that role play and that fantasy.
Is it also in some of the games? I noticed that our 16-year-old will dress up in certain ways or even build whole communities.
Yes.
But they're doing the design and everything. So it's still that imagination that's coming out and creativity.
It's definitely the imagination and creativity, but it's also problem solving through how do I actually build whatever it is that I'm trying to build and thinking through the steps that are necessary to get there.
It's really complicated.
It is complicated, but it doesn't have to be impossible.
Right.
And as a parent, it's being intentional about showing interest in your kid and wanting to be involved because they are willing to let you in if you're genuinely interested in what they're interested in. So
we have sat many times watching them play or design or showing us. And we even went to an opening night of a certain movie where the whole entire audience was that age range.
Except for us.
Except for us. The chairs were really comfortable, though. We could recline. Yeah. We did. But anyway, it was taking the opportunity to see what they were interested in and then joining them.
You still play board games with kids that age, or
absolutely.
Are they able to see you cheating now?
Well, I think you're able to see them cheating.
I don't know. Our child's pretty smart. I think that game you always win. I think they would beat us.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. This is a great time also to engage in community events or community classes where if there's a community art class or a dance class or theater, this is a great time to continue to be introduced to theater because hopefully you already did it younger. But, you can take a cooking class together or even engage in that at home where it doesn't have to be something organized, but just being able to engage in cooking together is an opportunity for play. I mean, they're playing house per se in learning a skill and being able to develop that skill, strengthen that relationship, and be able to regulate emotions, whether it's excitement and joy of, oh my gosh, I baked this and it turned out great, or wow, this did not turn out as how I planned and now the smoke detector's going off.
Yeah.
That's when Ken cooks.
Yeah.
So is part of it also finding what interests them? So I'm thinking of particularly one child that we have didn't like to be outside, but another one loves to garden and plant. And so we're actually creating the garden together. And that's something that we're sharing partly because they're so passionate about it. Is that also something that folks should be looking out for?
I think at every age you want to look and see what the child is interested in to be able to foster that that growth and development. If you have a kid that's really interested in Legos, then great, let's get all the Legos
Right.
that you can have. If you have a kid that has maybe some fine motor delays, they might not find enjoyment in Legos because it's
Right.
so cumbersome and time consuming to be able
Tedious,
to build. It's
yeah.
tedious, yeah.
But they might like those cereal box Legos.
Right, they might like cereal box Legos that you can make into all sorts of other different things.
So it basically all boils down to being involved, being engaged through all levels, right? And listening.
We want parents and caretakers to feel like what they're doing matters and to do more of what you love. Play is supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be carefree. The symbol for Child Abuse Prevention Month is the pinwheel, which
Yes.
represents a happy, healthy, carefree childhood. And that's what we want. We want adults and children to be able to engage in play that is happy, healthy, carefree. That's what childhood is about. It's about memories that create those positive childhood experiences that last a lifetime.
Oh, I love that. So are we all going to go build a fort now?
Yes!
I want Kim to teach me some of those tips on how to win at board games.
Keep practicing.
Yes, Ken. Just keep practicing.
We've been
and just
talking-
prepare to lose.
We've been talking with Kim Hemmert of Idaho Children's Trust Fund, and we've learned all sorts of things about all different ages of kids
and
what-
play.
and play too. Thanks for playing with us.
Certainly.
Thanks for
Thank
not cheating.
you. No one cheats. This podcast is brought to you by the Idaho Children's Trust Fund.